Hey everyone, I'm Clayfect, and today we are not going to make a sculpture for me, but for one of my friends that turns 30. Tillykke, Michelle. So this sculpture might get a little bit weird, but it is sort of an inside joke that I of course will let you in on the secret on. So let's get started. So, the sculpture we'll be making today is a calf. Or, I guess there's a lot of calves on this planet. A young cow. A baby cow. A cow calf. You know what I mean. And we start with the amateur, as you see me doing here. More or less tactful. Before we move on, to put some clay on the little fella. Now, you're probably wondering, but Clayfect, why in the world will you make a calf holding a stop sign as a birthday present? And that's a good question. And while I make this sculpture, let me tell you why. I know it's hard to believe, but I am actually an adult. And sometimes, when it's on the weekend and there's nothing better to do, intoxication can happen. Now my friends would probably tell you another version of this story, but this is Clayfect and I am Clayfect, so I think we should keep to my version, don't you? So here it goes. Drinking is not something I practice often, since I'm always busy. But one night I found myself at a pub with some of my friends, and it was there it happened. Now, two of my friends sat down and had a serious conversation about fish tapas. Fish tapas, can you believe it? And Mr. Clayfect actually looked like he was listening to it. I was bored out of my mind and maybe slightly intoxicated. But then it occurred to me that one of my female friends that was talking so eagerly about fish actually was single. And as a good friend, I should totally be her wingwoman. Even though she had no idea that I was about to wingwoman away. So, as a truly master of this wingwoman game, I walked up to a group of guys and herded one of the pretty ones out. Actually, I heard it more than one, and it was sort of a chaos. But let's keep to this one guy, because it's about him this whole story rotates. So we walk back to the table so I can introduce him to my friend. But it's then my intoxicated paranoia kicks in. Because we all know that looks aren't everything. And I really didn't know anything about him. He could be an axe murderer or a psychopath. I had no idea. Maybe I had just served my friend up on a silver platter to be his new mark. Or maybe he was a vampire. There were so many possibilities. So to keep my friends safe, I introduced my friends with different names. And I might not have been so lucky with the pick of the names, cause loosely translated, one of my friends were called Sourpuss, and the other friend, the single one, I called Milkmaid. Now, I do realize that this might not have been my big and shiny moment as a wingwoman, no. But it came from a good place. And it was good I gave them other names than they originally have, because that guy was really weird. He kept talking about a jar that he had at home that he missed. A jar. You know, a glass container with a lid. Jar. So, in hindsight, I saved them from me. And that is where the stop sign come into play. Because every time that I get an idea such as this, if my friends catch me in the act, she takes up her hand and says, Clayfect, stop. Just stop. And usually it helps unless I'm really bored. But to backtrack on that night, it ended up that we had a very entertaining evening. And overall it was a good night. So yeah, that is why that we're making a calf today. Because we are going to give the milkmaid a calf with a stop sign. Because my humor is weird. And if you're worried about how my friends reacted to all this, don't be. They know me and they're good friends. So they forgave me almost right away. But you know, in a friend group, you have the funny one, the sweet one, and the caring one. Yeah, I'm none of those. I'm that problem child that make weird things happen. Anyway, now back to the sculpture, shall we? Now, for this little calf, I thought a lot about its body language because I wanted the sculpture to scream, stop. And I think I achieved that. Maybe a little bit too much, but you're going to see that later. Here I'm just trying to get the correct head shape and get ready to place a jaw, since it's going to be holding the stop sign with its mouth. Before I move on to making the eyes, now besides body language, I also really enjoy making eyes because I think you can show so much through the eyes and how they are positioned and what mood then. I'm sorry guys, I promise it's the only cow joke today. Anyway, completely off topic and totally chaotic as usual. If you have liked this video so far, please consider like, comment and subscribe. It really means a lot to this channel and it doesn't take very long to do. And for all of you who has done so or are planning on doing so, thank you so much guys. It really means the world to me. Now back to the sculpture. With the eyes in place, I then moved on to the snout of the little fella. And I think you're really starting to see that it's a calf and not a horse or anything like that. I really think it's at this point that I'm starting to actually get over the ugly face and become satisfied with this little one. And I think it was at this point that I decided to name my friend's spirit animal for Roxanne, because just like my friend, she's very, very strong, even though she looks cute. Oh, and I also have a little live update for you. For those who aren't interested in hearing about that, that's totally okay. Just press the mute button in about a minute and then press it back on, and then it should be over and we go back to the clay. Now, for those who are new to this channel, the deal is that I have sclerosis. And it's very, very hard to live with. My hands shake and hurt sometimes. I can't see properly out of one of my eyes. So it's hard also to make sculptures, but that doesn't mean I want to stop. And I actually have some good news now because I have gotten my medicine. And it actually looks like it is helping me. My head doesn't hurt as much anymore, my body feels better, and my eyes are also getting a little better. So overall, I'm happy, I'm feeling good. I am also taking classes to get to know my disease some better, and for now it's not quite my cup of tea. People tend to be very depressed when they found out they have cirrhosis. Which I can understand because I also have found out, but I will not let that bring me down. Yet again, back to the sculpture. Here you see me using one of my ball stylists to make the ears for the little calf. Before I decide to change them out for some cosplay ears, since they are more flexible and bendy, so I hope they will not break off as easily. Now, I'm not saying that my friends and family are manhandling my sculptures, but I'm also not saying they're not. Anyway, with the ears and the horns in place, I really think you can start to see the cowness in the sculpture. Precisely. Though I really have to admit that at this point, it looks more like an angry demon calf. So to soften it off a bit, I gave it a lock of hair. Before I moved on to the texturing. And of course I had to texture it, even though the hair is so short, so I could probably get away with not doing it. But I tried a new technique and I think I'm a fan. First I brushed with some oven clay adhesive, also called baking bond, before I scripted with this homemade wire tool. And I just love the effect. It's not good for long hairs, but for short hairs, it worked just perfectly. After that, I just needed to make sure that the stop sign fit before I moved on to the painting. Usually I am too lazy to give a base coat to my sculptures, but since the majority of this calf was supposed to be white, I just went ahead and painted it all white from the start. I'm still not sure that a base coat has such a big effect, but then again, I'm a sculptor, not a painter. For those who have followed me knows that painting for me is a necessary evil. But with the white all done, I could finally start painting all the spots. And I have to say that was oddly satisfying to see the little calf slowly become more and more detailed. I'm not usually a big fan of painting, but it was fun. And since I was in a summery mood, I decided to paint it in some light earth brown colors. Her tail tip and her lock of hair are painted in a light brown color mixed with some more yellow to make them stand out a little bit more. And then I painted the snout in a light pink and the inside of the ears in a different kind of light pink. Because I'm a perfectionist, I had looked at way too many reference photos of small calves. And with the snout done, I moved on to the eyes. Now I had problems with the eyes because I wanted less demon calf and more just stubborn normal baby calf. And it was pretty difficult to find the right coloring for that. I went back and forth with some different eyes designs. But I'm pretty happy how she turned out. I still think she looks a bit demonic though, but you know what? I'm going to embrace it. I am going to give my friend a properly possessed sculpture. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Now to please our new cow overlord, I paint the horns and her feet in a grey brown tone before I give her eyes some shine. And it still amazes me how much a little bit of shine can bring a sculpture to life. But with the eyes all done, I started to work at the sign. And by the way, to all of those who have English as their third language, shine and sign, do you have any idea how difficult that is to say shortly after each other? But then again, I shouldn't complain because my first language, Danish, is known to be one of the most difficult languages there is, since we have like 3 letters you don't even know how to pronounce. A pro tip though, if you're going to say the letters A, Ö or O, just make them sound like you're puking, and then you're pretty much correct. Wow, this video is all over the place today, isn't it? Now, for the last time, back to the sculpture. After I've painted the sign, I place it in the calf's mouth. And then I dry brush the pole, the sign pole, before I give it some clear varnish on its eyes and the sign to make it more shiny. And with that done, I think that is it for this sculpture and it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. I hope you, just like I hope my friend, really liked Roxanne, the demonic little calf with the stop sign. And finally, the third and last thing is, I hope to see you next time. But if you can't wait until next time, why not click on the square to the right? And then you can see another sculpture get made. It's fun. But until then, bye!